Our presenter today is Krista Mosier, and I'm going to go ahead and she's going to get started. And Krista, welcome.
All right. Am I on?
Yes, you are, and we can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. I am glad you're here. Anne-Marie asked me to do this GeoGebra several months ago, and it was a good thing I had a lot of lead time because this website is intense, and we are only going to scratch the very surface of it, but I think you'll be able to see the potential for this site. So let's get started, and we're going to talk about our objectives. Oh, first, I got to get my math face on. Okay, got all those things ready to roll. Okay, so our objectives for today is we're going to explore the GeoGebra website, going to discuss the apps available, investigate activities that are already created for teachers, identify some activities that could be useful for your classroom, and then what everybody loves is homework. So we'll talk about some homework for you before we come back in 2 weeks. So first of all, just a little bit of background about GeoGebra is there's over 1 million free activities, simulations, exercises, lessons, and games for math and science. So you can see why we're only going to scratch the surface. It has geometry, algebra, and spreadsheets that are connected and fully dynamic. It's a fairly easy to use interface and many extremely powerful features. There's an authoring tool, which just means that you are able to create your own activities and then use them for your own use as web pages or anywhere that you want to. That is available in many languages. This is an actual international website, so it's not just English. And it's open source software, which means that it's 100% free as long as you're not trying to sell it to somebody else. So it's got some good stuff there. All right, now for classroom use, because it is so big, as I was doing this, there were some things that I wanted to make sure I talked to you about. The activities are built and shared by anyone who wants to be an author. So which means some are excellent, some are not so good. So you really need to look at and check it out to see if it fits your needs and if it works for you. Some activities do not provide specific directions. And that just means that you just kind of have to click to see what you do with it. And so sometimes there's a few that I've just clicked off because I cannot figure out what they want me to do. You can create your own activities, or you can even take somebody else's activities and modify them. And then just a best practice that I think would work best for this site is that if you have a smart board, or you can use it in a small group or in a large classroom setting, these activities work best in that setting, instead of just being one-on-one or just saying, hey, I want you to go do this activity. I don't think a student's going to get a lot out of the activity just on its own. Most of these are good resources to help you solidify or show or have a different view of things for a student. And you'll see what I mean when we get into it. Okay, so we're now going to go away from the PowerPoint, and we're going to go to exactly, Gareth, it is not a substitute for teacher interaction. It's actually an excellent tool for teacher interaction. All right, so we are going to go to to the website itself. Does everybody see that? Because I'm not going to be able to see chat or anything at this point.
Yes,
Okay.
and I'll help you drive. If there's questions, I'll let you
Okay.
know, and you're good to go.
Okay. All right. So this is the home page of GeoGebra.org. And you can just see from this that there's a lot going on. So I am not going to demonstrate anything right now. We're just going to look at what's on this home page. So here you can see we have tabs for graphing, classroom resources, there's new math apps, we have classic apps, offline apps, and then you can just barely see classroom resources. Okay, and then if we scroll down, there's tutorials and newest resources, but we'll get into those in just a few minutes. First of all, I want to go over to the left-hand side, this sidebar, and we have our home, newsfeed, resources, profile, people, and groups. So this is the home page. If you click on the news feed, this is kind of like a Facebook news feed. People can print post in here. You can see what other people are doing. If they've created an activity, they might post it in here to highlight it for people. The GeoGebra team posts on here frequently. So this it's exactly that. It's a news feed. It shows what's going on in GeoGebra and what's happening around the world in GeoGebra. This tab, the Resources tab, takes you to our classroom resources. And again, we will get to that. But you can see that we have elementary school math activities, middle school activities, high school math activities, and college math activities. So this website can really span from your beginning levels all the way to your transition classes, working for your TSI and like that. Some things that on this classroom resources, this is the Explore, then your favorites. And if you create a profile, then you can have access to the favorites. So as you're going through, I did this quickly because there were so many sites or so many activities that I wanted to go back to, and I couldn't find them again because, again, there's a million of them. So when you find something that you really like, you can click it on favorites, and it puts it right here for you to see. And then if you create your own activities, whether it's an activity or a book, this is where you can upload and where you will always be able to find it as well. So that's all off on the resources page. Your profile, I haven't done anything special with my profile, but again, it shows who you are. You can edit your profile, my favorite resources, if I have anything to upload and such. The people, this is kind of cool too. These are people that have created activities. So let's say you had something that, let me find, like Jennifer Silverman. Let's say you had an activity, saw an activity that you really liked that Jennifer did. Well, you can go on people and look and see what else she has created, and also some of her favorite things. So if you like some of the things that she does, you might like some of the things that she has. So this is just a real simple way to just be able to click on what other people are doing. Okay, so that's your people. And then groups, we are not going to get into groups, but this is something that, let's say you want to create a group for your own class, and then you can set up, I want you guys to be doing these different activities and such, but there's a lot of instructions on how to do the groups. Okay. And let me go back here.
Krista,
and then the app downloads.
Krista, real quick.
Yes.
Can you ask questions in the group? Since you've got all these people in the community, can you ask a question if you're not sure about something to the group?
To which group?
Well, is there a group Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought,
Yeah.
okay, got
You
it.
create the group. Now, if you wanted to ask a question, you could go to that news feed, and I think that you could probably even send a message to individual people.
All right.
So,
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you.
And I just saw Gareth. Yes, making your account is super easy. I did it through Google. You can see over here that all my Google stuff is right here. So making the account is super easy and was very helpful. The app downloads, you can download all of these things, the graphing calculator, 3D graphing, geometry, all of these things to put to your smartphone, iPad, your other devices and stuff, so that you can get and use these things even offline. So that's a quick place to get to your downloads. All right. So you can see again how much stuff there is on here. All right, let's get in a little bit deeper. Again, I'm still just talking and showing. We're not going to get into it quite yet. All right, so we have our start graphing. If we click on the graphing, it takes us directly to a graphing calculator. Classroom resources, again, another way to just get into those resources. Our new math apps versus our classic apps. Now, the new math apps are what we're going to focus on the most. It breaks down the graphing calculator, geometry, 3D graphing, and augmented reality. And I'll click on that very quickly. This is strictly as an in the App Store for iOS devices. It is not on this website yet, but you can just kind of see what fun stuff you could really do. So if you have an Apple device, you might want to do this and see what you can do with that. All right. The classic apps are here. And again, we'll get into that in just a minute. There's a spreadsheet, probability, and CAS. We are not even going to talk about those today. So, all right. Our classroom resources, again, these are things that they highlight. These four change every, it seems like every day. Every day I come here, I see different ones that they've got highlighted here. And then you can hit the show all. But the most important thing is your tutorials. So, because I needed a lot of help. So here's 4 tutorials, but you can just click on here, and it takes you into how to use the apps. And you can see on the tutorials that some of the things are books and some are activities. If it's a book, it really is a book. It gives you different contents and chapters, so you can find exactly what you're looking for help on. Okay, and then that creating resources tutorials, here's where you would find out how to create an activity, how to create a book, or how to create a group. So you could, that's all very easily found once you know where to look. Okay, so all of this is here, your classic app tutorials, and then 3D graphing, geometry, and so on. So we are glad to have that. All right, are we ready to play? Actually get into some of this stuff? All right, prepare to be amazed. Sorry. Okay, here, so I'm going to just show you quickly the GeoGebra Classic under the Classic app, but it's kind of clunky compared to the new math apps. But I just wanted to show you very quickly some of the things that you can do on here versus then when you go into the new ones. So when you go into the Classic, you can see it comes up with a grid. It comes up with a calculator down here, and then it has a toolbar going across over here to the left. The pointer, you can use the cursor, freehand shape, or a pen. You can do the points. And I love this because if I put a point here, it automatically puts the ordered pair over here so the student can see exactly what they've done and also what they've done algebraically. If you click on that point, you can see that there's a lot of different things that you can do here with those points. We can do a line. So I have a point here, and I want to make a line that looks like that. Well, there you go. And it even gives you the equation for that line. Okay. And if you want to do a segment, you click on that. Click, and there's your segment, and it shows you its distance, its measurement. You can do array. Hey, there's array. All right. And this, going back to my math teacher, you can see three things right here, right now, of your segment, your lines, and your arrays. You can see the teaching capabilities of this. Yes, you can. If you come over here, you can do save and print preview. You can download. You can do all of those things. Okay. Let me get back on this. All right. If we go over here to the lines, this one's kind of fun. Let's do a perpendicular line. So when you do a perpendicular line, you have to have a line drawn. So I'm just going to use this one over here that I have here. And then you click on the command. And I have a point. And there's your perpendicular line. Okay. If I, whoops, stay there. Click it to stick it. All right, if I wanted a parallel line, I'm going to do a parallel line to this one. So I'm going to go here, click my point, over, click my point, click on parallel line, and click on the line, and there's my parallel line. And I see an incredible way of doing this for transversals, okay, and showing the angles for transversals. All right.
Krista, there's
yes.
a couple questions, and there's good ones, and I wanna clarify because Daisy had a really good point. Do you recommend this is done as a whole group, not to really put students in a lab by themselves unless they really felt comfortable, right?
Exactly. Okay. Especially if you had a smart board. I mean, if you have a smart board, the possibilities of this are endless.
Mm-hmm. So, Daisy, you could have a student come up to the smart board, or even if you just have one presentation computer, you could do that. You could have a student come up and help you, or if you've got a couple computers, you could break the students out in a group. But I wanted you to clarify that, Krista. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. And then we can do a polygon. This is fun. Just draw, and you can make your vertexes. Do a regular polygon, do this, and then as soon as you get that set, it's going to ask you how many vertices do you want. So if I want a 6-sided polygon, there we go. Whoops. And so again, the possibilities are endless. If we do a circle, there's your circle. And you can do your diameter, your radius, and stuff like that. Okay? So this is the classic apps. And I see there's a lot of questions, and I want to show you. Let's go to the new math apps because I want to show you some things on that you might be able to see how to use this a little bit and it's like I said, it's less clunky. So if we go here to the Math Apps graphing calculator.
Now,
All right.
Krista, do you have to download all of these apps? There was a question in there from Rosa. Do you have to download all of these, or do you just access them via Google?
You can access them via Google, and on that download page, you can download whichever ones you want, okay? And that's, again, where the new math apps are. If we go back here to these app downloads, you can download just the graphing calculator, the 3D graph, the geometry. And these are based on the new math apps, but here's your GeoGebra Classic 6. So that would be one big bundle for those two things.
Okay, thank you so much.
Does that answer?
Yeah. Rosa, did that answer the question for you? I want to make sure. Okay, great. Thanks, Krista.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to that graphing calculator. And again, a lot of you are math people, I can tell. So I'm just going to do a quick thing. Anything that you use a graphing calculator for, whether it's your TI 55, 82, 83, or whatever, this will do. So, but just to show you, if I'm going to put in an equation, so here's my 2x. Well, it's already drawing a line for me. But I want to make it a linear equation, 2x plus 3y. Okay, and now the line's gone because there's nothing for it to calculate. And then I push equals, and then I'm just going to push 7. And there's the line. And it gives you the equation over here, and it gives you your line there. And then you can also, from this, use over here for your tools, and there's all the tools that you can access right here on the graphing calculator. And you can see it's the same as the classic apps. You got circles, lines, you can construct, transform, measure, do your deletions, do your points and stuff like that, and click more, and we'll get there. Okay, so that's the graphing calculator. Geometry. All right. When you're using the math apps and you first click to geometry, you can see that there is no grid here. So sometimes you might not want the grid. Sometimes you might just want to show how to draw and what it looks like. All right. But if you do want the grid, it's very easy. You come over here to the right to the settings. You can show your axes, show grid, and I want major and minor grid lines. You don't have to have major and minor grid lines. You can just do the majors. So it just depends on how detailed you want to get. And then there's your setup. Whoops. And I'm obviously drawing something here. I'm still in Polygon. All right. And another thing that I like about this one is that it has an undo button. So it's a little bit easier to get rid of your stuff. All right. So again, you have your points, your line segment, your lines, polygons, circles. And if you notice that as you go through those toolbar things, it pops up down to the bottom. If you look, it pops up on the bottom of that, gives you just a little mini help. So if you're not sure what to do, it will tell you select center point, then point on circle. If I click on more, here's all those things, all those different commands. And one thing I like also about this is, let me do a little polygon here. And okay, we'll do a 4. So here's a 4-sided polygon. Do you see here where it says measure? I just click on measure and click on that, and there it gives me my area of that polygon. Okay. If I want the measurement of the line, it'll show it to me right there. So if you're teaching these concepts, it's just an amazing way to just absolutely have it be shown. And then there's even more. You can do your circles. You can see you can do arcs, points and bisectors and angle bisectors and all of those things. Okay. So this is just your basic geometry. And again, if you come over here, you can see that it gives you all of the equations and all the steps of what you are doing as you do these things. All right, so that is the geometry section of that. And now the 3D graphing, and this is one of the most exciting parts of this, because how often I can't draw 3D very well, so this really helps us with this. Yes, Daisy, it really does. Okay, so again, I'm going to go over to this section, and here we go. Let's do a pyramid. So pyramid, I'm going to do my vertex, my base, and pull up, and there you go. There's a pyramid. If I want the measurement of that pyramid, I can come down here and click, and it'll give me my measurement, the volume. If I want the area, it'll give me the area of ABC. All right. I love the cube. Ready for the cube? Click, click. There's your cube. Sphere. Click. Let me put in a radius. There's your sphere. All right, let me undo him. Cancel. Undo. Undo. Go away. Thank you. You can also do this one. And you can make it as big or as small as you want. Okay. Let me get rid of some of those things. And I'll show you some other things. Let's do a cone. Radius 4. All right. Hey. And of course, it doesn't always do exactly what you want it to do. Should be able to. Let me undo. Made all sorts of funky points in there. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do, Gareth. There we go. I evidently did my cone sideways instead of flat. So here's the plane shape. You can actually move your plane. So make sure you do on your cursor, and then you can move that plane around. All right. If we look at it from above, isn't that cool? And let me do. I want to get rid of you. Oh, I know how to get rid of you. Okay, get back to a plain state here. So intersect two surfaces. So if I had a cube and I want to intersect that, Uh, so if you can't remember how to do something, just click help and it'll pop it up to that. So I don't want to get into this too deeply, but you can really see, I think you can really see how some of this stuff goes. And you can do two planes, select point and parallel plane. Going off script is my problem, so I'm going to go back to my script and do what I know. But you can see how you could spend hours working on this and playing with this. All right. So then if we go back to that, so we've done the 3D graphing and the augmented reality. So let's look at the resources. And I think some of this will help you with, because you can do a lot of demonstration, but let's look at some of the classroom resources of things that people have already created using the applications from this website. So I'm going to look at elementary school activities first, and I know some of you are thinking elementary school, that's, I teach ASC, but let's look at some of these activities here. And I'm going to click on this very first one, this area models for improper fractions. And this I found this morning. It wasn't even up on the radar earlier. All right, so here you have two fraction grids. Fraction number 1, you can click on decimal and you can click on percent. So here's your half. If I want to change my denominator, I just use the little slider, and it gives me my decimal and percent there. And I can change my numerator, and it fills it in so you can see it visually as you go along. If you do something bigger, it shows you what that fraction looks like. And if you don't like the circles, you can just switch it over and it goes to squares. So again, this is an activity that somebody's already taken all of the concepts and made this. But again, do you see what I mean about you don't necessarily want a student just sitting there playing with this. You want to be able to interact with the students and show them what goes and how to look at it and how to read it. All right, so this is just one of those activities that's already made for you. So if we go into elementary school math activities, I saw this one. This is a classifying quadrilaterals. And again, it has the author up here, and you can see that he's probably not American or U.S. You can see that the misspelling is there, but he's actually given you some instructions. But this again would be fun on a smart board, and you simply, let's say, you want Johnny to go and do all the rectangles. He clicks on the rectangle, and he looks to see which ones are rectangles on here. All right. The instructor, the author, put a ruler so you can bring that up and say, okay, we can measure this. Is this really a rectangle or is it something else? Whoops, go away. Okay. But, and you can color and you can use and see all these different things. And restore, well, it should have gone back. But so here's a perfect example of something that the quality may not be there exactly, but if you wanted this, you can download it, modify it, make the corrections, make an answer key, and make it better and make it your own. Okay? So you can look down here. You have subtraction within two places. Telling time from clocks. I mean, a lot of our students struggle with telling time. There's some more fractions in a fraction book. So, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So really, a lot of it, you may not have to spend a lot of time creating activities. Just find some that are already here. All right, and you can see lots of fractions. And I think, so you can see that there's a lot of stuff there in the elementary. If you go to middle school, we get a little bit more difficult. I love this graphing linear equations. This is a book, but it gives you a quiz. Now, obviously, this isn't something you're going to have your students do right off the bat. This is a good, probably a transition class and higher level ASC, but they give you the line, the equation of the line, and then you work through this until you see, okay, I think this may be the answer, this may be the line for that equation, and it'll check your answer. Oops, it's not right. So then you play with it again, and you move this little dot up and down so you can find your second interception part. Okay, so that was one of the, and you can see that it's 3 different versions of linear equations, working with them, and such. And proofs without words, 4-color challenge, surface area. There's a protractor. I know in our new holy cow, our TABE, there's a protractor. So here may be a little activity that you can work with your students to show them how to do a protractor. Folding and such. And then high school math.
So, Krista, can I ask
a
quick question before I lose it? So if you use one of these activities, can you modify it and then upload it again and share it? Once you download it, you can tweak it and then upload it. Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. This is a neat activity, the position, velocity, acceleration versus time graphs. And the student can just move lines, and it shows how if you change one thing, it changes all parts of your position and acceleration. So that's kind of fun. I want to go, and then the college math. Whoops, I've lost it. There we go. College math activities. I mean, most of you probably won't go into this unless you just love math and you want to try these kinds of things. But you've got some parabolas in there. You've got things I can't even pronounce. Okay. And again, you can see that some of these are also in different languages. Okay. So we're not going to really get into the college math. But if we go into my favorites, there were some things that I found this morning. 3D geometry cross sections. This was kind of cool because here's some nets. All right, you know how surface area is fun? Well, here's some nets with a cube. You can change how the net looks like. You can open the net. You can close it and open it. You can do a net of a cylinder. So again, what a wonderful way to show students how these things work. Isn't that cool? Net of a cone. And again, it's not, this does not replace the teacher. Okay, the teacher has to be there. You have to be able to explain what's going on here. But there's some cross sections. So this is just a really neat, but again, there's just tons and tons and tons of things and throughout here. Let me go back. My resources. What are another favorite? Exponents game. I was playing with this the other day. Sometimes it's hard to find things that are for our exponent rules. And yes, again, some of this stuff, let's say I got to level 7. I don't want to do level 7. I guess that's where I saved it, though. But my goal is to get to x negative 3. And I start here, so I would need to start at 1. And it shows you. All right. So when I click down there, I'm at this spot. And then what do I need to do to get to negative 3? Well, I killed. I'm not there. But it gives you I don't want to take the time, but like that. See, can't do that. But I'm getting tongue-tied here. But you can see that there's just so much. Is there anything that you saw that you want me to go back to? I know that we've had a lot of questions and comments. Maybe I ought to just go back to that.
Krista, I've been watching the chat pod. Not as much questions, but go ahead and put your questions in the chat pod now if you've got them. But it's as much as it is just excitement.
Okay.
That it will help the students. Excitement that it will help the beginners. Is there a topic that you all want her to look for? Is there something that your students are already struggling with? Should we look at some more fractions?
Okay.
I'm just going to throw that out there to everybody and ask. Gareth, what do you think? Yeah.
I see Mark is asking about trigonometry. Let's see. So you can see that there's a search up here. All right. Where would you like to start, Mark? I think there's a few things here. Susie, that's a good question. I ought to ask my Google Classroom guru, Ashley. There she is. Thank you. I'm sure it could, since you can even make your profile with your with the Google account. So Mark, here's several things for trigonometry. So, and like I said, I just put it up here in the search. So if there's something specific you want, you can do the search. Okay. It's a little overwhelming, huh? All right, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. And I'm just going to zip through these because we've already done all of this. Okay. All right. So, for homework, what I'd like you to do is to go through some of these activities. Look at the activities, especially in the elementary or middle school resources. If you want to do something higher level, that's fine too, but I just felt like most people would be more specific for elementary and middle school. I'd like you to try it out, and if possible, try it out with your class. Have your class work with it. If you have a smart board, find an activity that goes along with what you're doing right now. And then at the second Tech and Tell, we'll spend just a couple of minutes talking about which activity you chose and how it worked. And again, yes, thanks. It is not, you do not have to do the homework. I am not going to check it on the 28th. I'm not going to ask. But if anybody wants to do this, but it's a way for you to make yourself go into it. But I have a feeling a lot of you are going to want to do this. To look at this. And even if you don't find an activity, but maybe you did something on your own to create an activity, or do an activity with the 3D graphing and things like that, we'll give a few minutes to report out for that. All right. We've got about 6 minutes, so is there anything else that you'd like me to show or talk about?
I don't type very fast. I was just going to share with everyone that in listening to all this, Krista, I think that this is a really good site for teachers to practice with teachers.
Absolutely.
I don't want to lose sight of that, because I know there's a lot of excitement on here. So if you've got other colleagues that you can get together and practice, I think this would be a good way to update your skills too. I'm not sure if y'all agree, but I had that thought and it came to me.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry, you can read too.
Yeah, I think there is so many avenues with this site. And that's why I thought I would just start out real slow, real easy. At the second Tech and Tell in 2 weeks, we'll just kind of review it real quick, because I know you're going to go and tell your friends and teachers that they all need to do this. So we'll review the website very quickly. We'll discuss any homework that you have, maybe go into a little bit deeper for classroom resources, and then I'd like to talk about classroom usage of the GeoGebra, how you can see this being put in. And also, Anne-Marie is going to talk about how to use this with some disabilities. I saw one of her questions was about the shading, and I'll have to look into that. I'm sure there is, but I did not go into that yet. So I will look to see if there's shading that we can do on just the geometry sections. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at for September 28th. I think we need about 3 hours, Anne-Marie, okay?
You know what? I'm thinking I'd just like to send this out here to everybody right now. As you use this, those of you that are all so excited about this, I want you to think about maybe coming back on a Tech and Tell and presenting on this which I can never say. What is it? How do you say it?
GeoGebra.
GeoGebra. Think about coming back and presenting on GeoGebra yourself. I'm going to present that out there to all of you as an option later on, because I think that we could have several Tech and Tells just on GeoGebra. So think about it. You guys will be experts with this as you introduce it in your classrooms. So if you are interested, email me and we can talk more about it, because the greatest presenters like Krista and Ashley are the ones that are doing it in the classrooms right now. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
All right. And we are right on time, so unless there's anything else, I am going to say thank you. You were wonderful. And there's my email if you'd like to talk to me directly as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring it back to this page, because I want to thank my colleague on behalf of Olive Train PD, I do just want to shout out kudos to this very hardworking colleague of mine. She is a field specialist that helps 19, right?
I
19. Oh,
I have 11,
okay.
but the bigger programs.
Yep, 11 of the programs. So she is in the field traveling all the time. So I just want to thank her again for her expertise. As we close out the hour, I also want to remind those of you that may have come on a little bit later that you will be able to print your certificate of completion from your transcript in the PD portal Monday afternoon, okay? I do know that some of you did come in late, so that's just a reminder. I did see a lot of new people today. Bertha, Daisy, I believe some people already rolled off. Miss Wong was on. Some people I had never seen before, so I want to thank you. I want to thank Mark for being back, Maro for being here, Ivan for being here, Gareth. Great to have you back. So everybody have a wonderful Friday. Stay dry wherever you are. We are just getting tons of rain here in Houston, and I've had enough of it. I want it to stop now. So anyway, everybody, take care and have a wonderful weekend. And Krista, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you.